And with me today, I have Carolina Stuckenberg, who is a passionate advocate, coach, and author dedicated to helping individuals claim their power and rebuild their lives after toxic relationships. With years of professional experience and personal insight, Carolina has become a trusted voice in trauma recovery and emotional well-being. Her mission is to guide others from victimhood to victory, empowering them to thrive and not just survive. Karolina brings profound wisdom, empathy, and actionable advice to those navigating the complexities of healing from emotional abuse and toxicity. Welcome to the show, Karolina. It's such an honor to have you here, all the way from South Africa.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I'm currently in South Africa. I actually live in Mexico. It's quite an interesting story. So that's kind of a little bit of my thing, victim to victory. Where did I land up living? And yeah, what a
No.
journey it's been.
Yeah, well, it'd be fantastic for you to share more about your journey, Carolina. What led you to become the expert that you are today?
Yeah, so talking about this, about coming from toxic relationships, difficult situations, I'd had a pretty rough upbringing, a lot of crime, violence, and narcissism, gaslighting, and really bad toxic relationships. And it was seemed to be a running theme in my life, one after the other. And, despite doing all the work and thinking you do the healing, you go to therapy, you try different modalities, all under the sun, it conspired somehow in later in my life with my ex-husband that we had a terrible fallout, left me bankrupted, we lost our jobs in COVID, and he ran off, and that was that. And so that really broke me. And at that stage, I was like, wow, does life not get any better? Does it just get worse? One bad thing after the next. And there's that saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. But I was like, no, we do actually break. And when you're living under that much stress and toxicity, it affects your body, it affects your mood, it affects the way you engage with people, it affects the quality of your life. You're not living in full HD color, enjoying anymore. And so I was broken and really went far and wide trying to find a way of being able to let go of the negative self-talk, the low self-confidence, the impact that this all had on me, the immense stress, and had tried so many things. And I finally came across this methodology. And when I jumped in within 4 weeks of doing it, I was like, that's it. This has changed me in a matter of 4 weeks. By the end of the 15 weeks, it was just magical. It was like an intentional breakthrough, a spiritual awakening, everything, all the layers just coming off and changing me, changing my life, being this full authentic self. And having thought for so many years that no matter what I had tried, I was so broken, I was unfixable because every other method out there wasn't really getting me there. It wasn't fixing the problems, wasn't ending the cycle, wasn't allowing me to truly let go. And since that happened, I've just come out and shine and want to send my message everywhere on the world and give women that hope and that opportunity to explore what I really feel is the future of women's psychology and one tool to work with everything, whether you want to break through all your glass ceilings in your professional life or whether you're wanting to just heal from your past. Or is it, are you having issues even with your weight and your gut health? Is it stuck in emotional blockages? So it's been incredible to learn along the way.
Wow. And how about the location change? How do you feel that helped you as well?
Location change in terms of being in Mexico.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everything happens for a reason. I chose it at the time during COVID because it was the safest place to be in. And Mexico was the only place that was open. So when I elected to go there, it was interesting. As much as things were shut down, I was still making connections with beautiful people. It was a healing place where I was in Mexico. It was really safe. And and I'd spent many years there, in fact, until I even opened up a little bistro shop with local products and beautiful food. And it was a lovely journey in the end, but I mean, it wasn't easy. It was hard to start from scratch with no one, no support in a foreign country. But the people were soft and kind and friendly and beautiful, and I'm so ever grateful for that.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. Wow. Yeah, I actually felt butterflies as well when I heard that. I can sense just how beautiful it probably was.
I mean, it didn't look like it to me. In my world, I was broken, shattered, and lost and confused and very much, shattered on the floor. But landed in a place that gave me light, gave me hope. And I don't know, just, I think when we finally reach rock bottom, magic begins to happen. There's only one way, and it's up. And you choose that. You get so fed up of being stuck in the pain that the pain of change is worth more. And that's where I was at. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing your personal story. So let's go into toxic relationships. So, we all hear about like the red flags and green flags. So what are the kind of red flags in any kind of relationship and the signs that we need to look out for?
It's an interesting question that you asked that. And, a lot is being thrown around about like, yes, the red flags. What are the signs? Um, how to avoid falling prey to this kind of situation. And the honest truth is, yeah, we can define that, but within all of us, we all know what sits with us okay and doesn't fit with us, if it feels right or wrong. When we have that head, heart, and gut connection with our inner selves, we'll have that intuition, we'll have the sense, and we can outgrow old behaviors and habits. So behaviors that we might find familiar is, somebody saying all the beautiful things to you. Let's say you're dating a guy and he says all the right things. It really melts your heart. You want to believe it all. And so in some way you fall prey to that. And then after, the love bombing comes the criticism and the other side, which is like, wow, what is this polar opposite? Obviously, the first time somebody sees that, that's a red flag. I mean, if you're dating somebody who has no ability to be empathetic, I would probably want to run from somebody like that.
Mhm.
But the real question is, how is the woman in that moment? Is she somebody who values herself enough to say, I won't put up with this? This doesn't feel right to me. I'm with somebody who's promising me the world, but I know that's not actually reasonable. So where do we play in the game of the toxicity? And I believe that when I've watched these women heal and like myself through this, once we've done the inner work, once we've got our own self-love and self-worth that's unshakable from the inside out, and somebody does something that disrespects us, makes us feel uncomfortable, is, it can be verbally abusive, psychological abuse, it can be the cold shoulder to a point of manipulating, all of the things. But now you'll recognize it and see that it's not making you happy, it's making you miserable, it's causing you stress, so you decide differently. Because those people that stay in those relationships, I have found, and I feel like for myself as well, we come from an already broken background or other dynamics that has caused us to not value ourselves. So we'll stay with somebody who's not going to value us. So we feel unappreciated. Then we don't feel seen, heard, and understood. We'll stay there because we're a people pleaser or a big empath. And so when we take responsibility for how we come to those places and put up with those relationships, that's how we see the red flags. But more than that, confidently actually walk away, move away from it, make totally different decisions. Because I know for myself, despite all the therapy and understanding it, in the moment, seeing it didn't really matter if I wasn't feeling okay from the inside. Does that make sense? I need to value and love myself enough first
Yeah.
to be able to see the red flags. And so, yeah, I love that question. And that's what I often explain to the women that come through this program with me.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It does, even though there might be red flags, which you see it all the time on posts. At the end of the day, it's how we are. How is our mental and emotional well-being?
And
That's
I think we all express a little bit of those kind of behaviors as well. I mean, who hasn't given the cold shoulder? Who hasn't lost, their emotional cool? Who hasn't been affected in some way or another? The difference is, do we get wiser and better at it with age, right? Maturity is the growth around not falling prey to that situation anymore, making the decision above and beyond.
100%. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, how can someone begin to break free from the cycle of emotional abuse or manipulation if they're currently in a toxic relationship?
Oh, I think great question. I feel that they really need to assess the current situation. So there's two types. There's those that are no longer in the actual situation of the relationship. So let's leave them aside. For those that are, again, instead of looking externally at the situation, because all of you are going to have a slightly different story or you're all different types of people. But for those that are stuck there, looking at number one, how can you get out of the environment? You know something's wrong, Even if it's the smallest inkling voice inside of you, it's time to leave. It's time to find a way to have a safe space because you're not going to be able to do any healing and overcome anything or have any breakthroughs if you're not in a space or an environment where you can feel safe, be fully expressing yourself, to go through the motions of having a breakthrough and to be able to live freely. Yeah, right. We need that base as just so that we can de-stress the body to have a breakthrough. So that would be number one. Number two would be to really self-assess your own secondary gains. What kind of secondary gains are you getting from staying in that situation? So for some, it might be, look, I don't have a job, so they give me a place to stay, so now I'm stuck here. Well, then that's your first solution, right? You're going to look at the things in front of you. For some, it's easier, and maybe it's all they know in their lives is to stay in victimhood because that's how they get empathy and attention and maybe things in their life, but not necessarily in the real way that they truly want it in a happy, beautiful way in their heart. But it's a means to an end. So if you are getting some kind of secondary gain, assess that and how to get out of that. Have you had enough? If you had enough, it's time to take action. It's those first priorities is first comes you. Because if you have kids, they depend on you. They need a good, happy mom. So this is so important. Um, the next thing I would say is, and I love this about Einstein. He's like, if you keep doing the same things and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity, right? So I would say to those women out there, it's like, right, have you tried, the affirmations and the tappings and all these things? Don't go and do the same thing again if it hasn't worked for you in the past, right? I'm sure many that are going to hear this is cyclical. It's happened a few times, maybe even. So if that's the case, you've got to think so out the box. You've got to reach further. And like me, I found this modality and it was mind blowing. So put yourself out there. Look for a solution that really aligns and resonates with you. Trust your inner guide, as difficult as that can be sometimes. And then, I think lastly, being in that place of decision making, not just trying to cope, right? That's survival mode. Coming out of survival mode, coming out of victimhood, it's time to make a decision. It's like one day you sit there and you say, I can't do this anymore. I have to change or I have to pull out myself from this place. Then that is the moment to hang on and to take action. We need to get to that point. Nobody can save you. Nobody can fix you. Nobody can do it for you. It's when we take full responsibility for ourselves in that moment, it's that decision that will get the wheel of life turning, that'll get everything in motion, where you can let go of those secondary gains, where you can get out of that unhealthy environment, where you can start looking for how to actually break free and heal from it permanently. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that saying. It's in those moments of decision where your destiny is shaped. That's one of Tony Robbins' quotes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant, thank you. So, what would you say are the biggest misconceptions about toxic relationships and the impact that they have on victims?
Oh, I wonder if this is going to sound a bit harsh, but I feel that it isn't really spoken about is the role that we take when we get into those dynamics, into those toxic relationships. How are we falling prey to it? Where do we go wrong with ourselves? And, it's all very easy. I know because I came from that. I was so angry. I was so broken. I was so emotional that it is, the blame and the anger goes to that person who did that to you, right? What they did to you is not okay. It's not excusable. It's not fine. But why did we put up with it? Why did we stick through it? How did this come to be? Why do we stand by it?
Yeah,
And I've met women that have put up with it for many years of their life, some more than 20 years. Others, after 5 years, it's so extreme narcissistic abuse that they physically are falling apart with hormone and chronic stress and gut health issues and literally getting sick. So, I really think what role do we have to play? That's not really spoken in society. And so, again, that goes back. Where does your history come from? Do you come from a background where maybe you were neglected emotionally as a child, or maybe you had a difficult family upbringing, or did you experience abuse or sexual violations or suppression, oppression? Maybe it's a cultural thing in your country. Those things break us down as young women growing up, and over time, eventually, like I said, it goes back to this self-love and self-worth. It breaks us down so much that we'll put up with anything to be there, to be loved, to be seen, to get something. versus nothing. But
Yeah.
when we're truly happy within ourselves, we prefer to have our own peace. And that's the side that I come from. From this side is when we, with great responsibility, when we take responsibility for what we do to be in those situations so that we don't repeat it, that is where true self-empowerment starts. Because we can be angry at the other person, but it's only poison to yourself. How long are
It
you willing to drink that, right? We need
is.
to forgive and let go at some stage.
Do. Yeah, yeah, I mean it's forgiving ourselves and first of all and then forgiving the other person. And you're right, we're just so quick to fall in the victim mode and the kind of like blaming them, which it is bad, whatever has happened to you, but we just need to try and forgive and let go and heal. Yeah, so thank
And I
you.
think that also then, not only like forgiving the other person, but forgiving ourselves for allowing that to go on, for putting up with that. I know, I mean, like when I was with my ex-husband, I loved him so deeply. I mean, we were together for many years. It's hard to believe somebody you love can do that to you. But had I respected and loved myself better in the past, I think I would have avoided the whole situation altogether. And that's the honest truth now, looking back. And when I speak to other people who've come through this modality with me, they tend to have a very similar reflection of saying, "Oh, I actually condoned this."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very big and brave of them to actually admit that. And so do you think it is actually love that these perpetrators have over us? Over
Oh, that's such a it's such a personal experience for each, right? I do believe that um, both parties might actually still be very good people inside. Sometimes we're just not compatible together and it becomes toxic. And so we can all bite, we can all become narcissists, we can all become these terrible people within us. We all have the good and the bad. The thing is, maybe sometimes we are with someone who has an inclination, maybe that's all they know in their lives, that's the way they were brought up in their family. And so we, as an empath or the martyr, we're going to go help and save them,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So now what are we doing in that situation? Are they really guilty? If they're not ready to do their own work, why stay with them? So
exactly.
I also empathize for the narcissists and the gaslighters. I don't believe that they like that out of choice. And I'm not saying it's okay what they do.
Mm,
It goes back to recognizing it within ourselves. When something doesn't feel right in us, move away. Your peace and your happiness is worth everything. Those people that aren't okay need to wake up and obviously do something about it. They get away with it. Can they feel real love? I'm sure they felt love with their family, with their friends. I think a lot of them seem to have very healthy relationships by the looks of things externally. They're fun people, they're outgoing. That's the funny thing often is they have one face externally to the public and another face in privacy with you. And there's that disparity that one sees. Okay, if you see that, run. But I mean, if you fell in love with that forward-facing person, maybe there's something genuinely there and they just need their own healing. It's hard. And I do think some of them have just fallen so off the way in that, yes, can they really love? Possibly not. They just really do use you, take advantage of you, manipulate you, take your money, use your time, your labor. Absolutely, some of them can get very extreme.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what would you say are the first steps that somebody could take right now, if they're trying to leave a toxic relationship?
Get support. I mean, number one is somehow getting support. Now, I know I'm saying that all those that are going through it most of the time are feeling incredibly isolated and alone, scared, terrified to trust other people. They're even scared to even trust their own decisions to come out of that situation. But you're going to need support. We can't survive without support. Now, I managed to somehow get through that experience in Mexico, for example, entirely alone. But I needed to reach out to people. People were kind to me. People did reach a hand out for me, even if it came from the strangest of places at that time. And so you need to put yourself out there and find support, whether that be a refuge, phone a friend, go and stay in family home, or if that's not an option, somebody that understands your dynamic. Open up and be real about the situation and look for options. That would be like the number one step. Absolutely. Find your independence and make sure you find a way. Like if you need a job, make your money, find a way to balance your life out so that you can be independent again. That will rebuild your confidence and further allow your body to get out of stress state and eventually calm down and start the healing process.
And what role would you say forgiveness actually plays in the whole process, and how would you actually define forgiveness in this context?
The forgiveness is massive, right? It's huge. How would I define forgiveness? For me, the forgiveness, real forgiveness, is being able to see, acknowledge the story, the pain, the whole thing without it being attached to me, without it being a shadow walking with me all the time. It can fade into the past. It can be a guide of wisdom. It can be a transformation of change instigator. But when we truly forgive and let go, that humbles us with wisdom as we walk forward. But it doesn't hold us down. It liberates us. That's real forgiveness. And as much as it is to forgive the other person as it is to forgive yourself, I think. And to do that and to go there is, well, through this method, what I discovered, forgiving meant healing my own pain, healing my own self-love, healing my own self-worth. Things like I wanted to play small. I was a people pleaser. I was an over an empath. All of these things. When I started healing those and realizing what role I had to play, I could then actually let go and forgive because now I didn't need to get closure from the other person. I didn't need to understand their side of the story. I was so empowered that that gave me real forgiveness. And I never understood that before because I thought you could just think about forgiveness, pray about forgiveness, meditate on forgiveness, and you imagine letting go of everything. But somehow the wound sticks, the baggage sticks. So yeah, it's a beautiful question.
Yeah, and it's true, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'll only settle once I get revenge, or once something bad happens to them, or once karma gets them.
Oh la
But
la.
yeah,
Right? Oh, who wants these rampaging, vindictive characters running around, right? No fun at all, right? And that's what it bleeds into. Is like if we carry without forgiving and letting go and doing the healing work within us, we're going to turn into these toxic people. And so it's causing a negative effect. It's just, yeah, it's not worth it. And if you're your mom with kids, even more reason to get the healing, do it. It's worth it in gold times 1,000 so that do not, pass it on to your kids or expose them to ill behaviors that you don't want them to experience.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yeah. So, can you tell us about the methods and frameworks that you use in your coaching to help clients move to a place of empowerment?
Absolutely. The first step is really exploring how to heal from the past. The actual the thinking process, the behaviors, the things that we can do to open ourselves up, really in those first steps when it's quite scary or we need to just sometimes when you come from the darkest place, you just don't even know what the first step is. Where do you start analyzing? And so I have that I share with women when they get there, but others are just outright and ready. And the process is really where I explain to them this is not talk therapy. So
Mm.
I want to know your story, but we're only going to talk about it once.
Oh.
And you're not going to talk about it again from there. And so don't come here looking to get that kind of conversation. Here, what we do is we go to the root of the problem. So it's about getting her into such a safe state that she can trust this process as she comes in and she's so ready to heal. She's so ready to let go. She's so ready to stop the pain, and the habit and the cycle and everything that as she walks through it, it's actually this bizarre, beautiful journey. It bypasses her critical mind. It removes the limiting beliefs. It removes these negative emotions. It rewires the brain almost instantaneously, and then allows them to have their own inner wisdom come up that is unique to each woman, right? So we all have different life experience, and there's so many gurus out there that say, "Oh, we all have everything we need within us." But nobody can really tell us how to access it. Yes, go meditate. Well, through this method, that's what we're doing. We're getting you to have an intentional breakthrough, accessing your inner guru, your inner wisdom. So while we've removed the issue, it's being filled up with the perfect wisdom so that it never happens again. Your entire perception and world changes from that. And as soon as we're done, I mean, a woman would describe as bizarre calmness, or they even laugh about the thing they were crying about at the beginning of the session because it's bypassed all of that. So it's allowed us to work with the woman through her head and her heart and her gut, her intuition, all at once. And it's through this beautiful activity together. It's hard to describe what it's like, but I love the fact that it works with the whole woman. It's not just our energy, and it's not just our thoughts, and it's not just our emotions, and it's not just intentional affirmations and meditation. It's actual internal breakthrough and
Wow.
healing, which is, yeah, I would say to any woman out there, it's if you're in that place like I was, just stuck, fed up, and totally shattered, this could be the right answer for you. But yes, you need to be in a safe place.
And also, is this one of your own patented kind of frameworks that you use?
Oh no, not at all, not at all. I form part of a team actually, so we're all creatrix transformologists, and we're all women who either we've met another woman who's done it, and then they were also so moved by the incredible change that we become creatrix transformologists, and want to push it out even further. So there's about 150 odd or so of us around the world that is facilitating this. Maz Shermer actually created this method, and her own life story is just incredible. The hardship she's came from, and to get to a place where she had nothing with 4 kids to being a successful woman, healing thousands of women's lives and creating this amazing ripple effect. And so, yeah, it's wonderful to be a part of what I feel like is the next best women's revolution in psychology and healing and spiritual awakening and breakthroughs. It's just, yeah, one tool for all the things.
Wow, it sounds it. I love that. It sounds really amazing. And so, I suppose like, would your approach change for those at d different stages of their recovery as well?
In our dynamic specifically, I mean, I only will take somebody on who is ready. At the different stages, like I'm not, let's say, an expert in PTSD, right? If you're in a place where you're that shattered, and you're physically depressed and you're in hospital and you're under medical attention or you need some, no, I can't work with you at that stage, right? Because that can happen. I mean, women have gotten so physically ill and sick and stressed that they fall apart, it's really sad to see. Um, so yeah, more at the stage where you are in a safe place, you are ready to change, you are ready to actually heal, you are comfortable, stable, and at least have 12 to 15 weeks. That's what I need from you. So, this is another thing. Instead of like 3 years of working through it, it's just a matter of weeks.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, that does it sounds really like a rewarding thing to do, and yeah, I just think it's amazing. So in terms of like your kind of journey so far as a coach and advocate, what's been the most rewarding part, would you say?
A- Absolutely, hands down, seeing the woman come out of this on the other side, and like they don't even recognize themselves. They laugh at their own, like they laugh at themselves, thinking and watching themselves of the things they said and experienced and believed before. And when I first meet them and I'm laughing sometimes through the conversation, I tell them often, I'm not just laughing at you because you're having a hard time. I'm laughing because I know how it comes out on the other side. I'd been there, and it's just so unfathomable. It's so undescribable. It's uncanny in some ways. And when I see them come out and they so grateful, something that comes out of it every time is how grateful they are, how open-hearted they are, how free they are. I mean, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It is the most satisfying feeling in any job I've ever done in my entire life, and it's just, yeah, so inspiring, so
Yeah.
inspiring.
Oh, it sounds like yeah. And so what like, if you could offer one piece of advice to somebody currently feeling a bit trapped in a toxic relationship, what would that be?
Oof. With great responsibility comes great power. That's the opposite of Spider-Man, right? He says, with great power comes great responsibility. I say the opposite for this for women. Like, it's when we take responsibility, we become empowered. If you are stuck and you've reached that place, that's enough's enough. You need to take cognizance of where you can take responsibility, and that's going to begin your empowering process so that you know what the next step is. Have hope, trust in yourself. Listen to that inner voice, that little inner girl, the inner intuition that sometimes we've lost along the way. She's in there somewhere.
Mm, yeah.
Lean in and reach out and yeah, take responsibility because no one's coming to save you.
Um,
No one can save you. It is only up to you. And if you make that decision, there are options out there for you. You know, the world can change, the whole dynamic can change, and believe that.
yeah. Thank you. And so, what legacy or impact do you hope to leave through the work that you're doing?
Oh, I know I'm going to leave a beautiful legacy of all the women's lives that I continue to touch through this, and their families, their kids, their relationships with their partners, or the quality of their lives. For me, that legacy and them passing on better behaviors, better perceptions of the world, better ways of carrying themselves like real leaders, and then encouraging other women to be better leaders and raising their family differently. I think through all of us being set free or liberated or having these kinds of breakthroughs that we bring as women such a beautiful nurturing dynamic to the world around us that we need more of. We need more women leaders. So I want to see that all of us rippling and touching each other from a place of real connectedness, caring for each other, uplifting each other, not bullying each other, not judging each other, because we are beautiful. When we have that head, heart, gut connection, our intuition, our nurturing natures, and we care, and we come from an empowered place, yeah, the magic we bring to the world and the lives that we can change is just amazing. So I
Yeah,
want those women to flourish, all of them.
you will. I can see it. I can see you will.
Uh,
So, how can my listeners find you? And because I know that you offer quite a few different programs, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I do run online workshops. If they want to get to know me more in the online workshop space, they can find me there. Best thing would be to go to my website, and this is kind of strange. It's www.primeintegrativenutrition.com, or email me, Carolina at primeintegrativenutrition.com, and I can send you details. Or my Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those is Carolina Stuckenberg. And get in touch with me. I can send you to the workshops and come meet and greet and find out like where are your blocks, what is it about this modality? Come see videos of other women's before and afters, or just book a call straight up with me and explore it as an option.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'll be leaving all the links in this episode as well. And yep, so you're on all the socials as well, aren't you?
I
Yeah.
am, I am, I am. To be honest, I mean, I put stuff out there. I'm not the biggest fan of social. And I often find like I mean, social media is destroying our society. We've become
Yeah.
um no, like numb mentally because of it. So I am there. You will find me there, but yeah, it's the work I do is more in person, well, online workshops and digital space.
More personalized. Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. But thank you so much, Karolina. It's been such an honor having you on and talking about, the work that you're doing and just the impact that you're making. I think it's phenomenal, and I'm sure everyone else does as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Absolutely. What a lovely podcast as well. I mean, keep it all going, all these beautiful stories.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. My beautiful listeners, that's all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please do reach out to Carolina if you have any questions about anything we've discussed on the toxic relationships and the healing process. I'm sure she'll be honored to hear from you. And yeah, until the next episode, I look forward to seeing you then. Stay blessed, my friends.